Hey everybody, how's it going out there? Like you, I like to watch movies, and I kind of can see some of the inconsistencies or the impossibilities with some of the movies and the scenes that come from these movies. One in particular called Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. It is the fourth Mission Impossible movie. It was released, I think, in 2012. And there's a scene at the end of this movie where Tom Cruise aborts a ballistic missile launch after it's been launched, but before it hits. I saw that and I was like, well, that isn't really possible. I actually was a ICBM launch officer. So I know a little bit about how the physics work when you are launching an ICBM, or in this case, an SLBM. I thought that scene was a little bit unbelievable, and I wanted to go through it, kind of analyze it in this video really quick. So if you haven't seen the movie before, fair warning, there are some spoilers here. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, go ahead and stop the video and watch the movie. You can come back later. So the really short version of this plot is that there's a bad guy, and this bad guy, for whatever reason, he wants Russia and the US to go to all-out nuclear war with each other. So his plan to get this accomplished is he wants to trick a Russian submarine into sending a nuclear SLBM out of the water in the ocean and hit a target in the US, which will then provoke a response from the US to shoot a bunch of nukes at Russia, and then Russia shoots a bunch of nukes back at the US, and then you have a nuclear war. And just really a terrible, terrible hellscape. Not sure why he wants this, but to probably destroy most of the people on the entire Earth. But he does. So his plan is to, like I said, kind of spoof a launch message that goes to a submarine, a Russian submarine, and then they will launch their SLBM and hit the target. So it's up to Tom Cruise, also known as Ethan Hunt in this movie, to find the bad guy, make sure he doesn't launch that missile, and then thus save the day and avert a catastrophe. So the scene that directly precedes this scene is there's a party, and the Mission Impossible team is there trying to get the override codes for the relay station, because the relay station is what they need to use to send the command to the satellite, which is going to then send the message to the submarine. So they need to know the override code for the relay station, which is also the same exact thing that the bad guy is looking for. Didn't work out for the good guys, and the bad guy got the codes to the relay station, and he's on his way there while Tom Cruise's team is behind him. And are they going to make it in time to stop them? Stay tuned.
Hit the launch sequence.
How much time until missiles are flying?
3 minutes.
We're 3.5 minutes out.
Okay, so as you can see, our Mission Impossible team has 3 minutes before they stop the bad guy from launching the nuclear missile. He has a suitcase, he's ready to go, he's about ready to launch the missiles. Unfortunately, they are 3 minutes and 30 seconds out. So that's 30 seconds too late. Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Uplink to satellite, reboot to original military specs. Download the virus.
Tom Cruise's team has failed to prevent this guy from getting the suitcase. So now they're going to this location, which is a relay station, which allows them to communicate to a satellite, because you can't just send a command to a satellite from a suitcase. You need more power. So that's what this relay station is for. So they're doing there's all these wires and stuff, and he gives the guy a command and says, do this, okay.
Satellite weaponized and online.
Upload the new authentication codes, lock Russian Central Command out of the system, isolate the sub. We'll fire just one missile, an apparent retaliation for the Kremlin.
That should start the ball rolling.
So, satellite weaponized, and we'll see what happens next. So the command gets sent to the Russian sub. They verified that this is a valid message, that they should be launching their missiles, and then the phone call goes directly to the bad guy, because he's isolated the sub. Like I said in the previous scene, the sub is now isolated from Russian Central Command, so Central Command cannot communicate with the sub anymore, and only he can. So that's pretty convenient. So the guy verifies just to make sure this is really a launch. And then the guy goes, yes, it is. Go ahead and launch. And then so they pop their switches and do their things. And then the SLBM, which is a submarine launched ballistic missile, SLBM, that launches out. Now that looks pretty legit. I've seen videos of those launching, and that's pretty much what it looks like. It kind of pops out of the submarine torpedo chute or whatever you want to call it. Goes up, it breaches the water, and then that's when the solid fuel rocket motor kicks in, sends it up into space. Because this is a ballistic missile. So that's part of so think of that word, ballistic. Ballistic is something that you give it a initial a velocity and an initial vector, and from there it's going to go to where it's going to go. Like if I throw a ball, that ball becomes a ballistic projectile of some sort. That ball can't change course at any point. It's going to go where it's going to go from the force that I give it from my throw. That's what a ballistic missile does. So the next scene has the missile clearly in low Earth orbit, which is what happens. That's true. These missiles go in orbit and they're dropping off the stages. So most of these missiles are rocket fuel, solid rocket fuel, and only the tip top is the actual nuclear warhead, because you don't need a nuclear warhead to be very big. So the majority of these missiles are fuel. But this is kind of a short scene here. It just kind of goes up into space a little bit, and now it's already coming back down, which isn't really accurate. What it would do is it would get to a point in space where it knows it needs to drop the nuclear warhead, and then the nuclear warhead would fall from the re-entry vehicle, start spinning, and then just gravity is going to take that warhead to its destination to boom, blow up. And so it's not really powered. Gravity is the power at that point. Again, it's ballistic. The next one shows the warhead just flying in, just kind of cruising in to this city. Then you see Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise, at the very last minute, he hits the abort. Then you see a scene of the missile, and it kind of closes off rocket engine, which it wouldn't even have in the first place. And then it just kind of clips a building and falls right into the ocean. Now this is where I had this is the biggest inconsistency. It's not going to happen. So it already had the picture of the missile coming in from space, right? It doesn't have a rocket motor, but it had a rocket motor on there. That's one. Gravity is going to make that thing go faster and faster and faster as it comes into the Earth's atmosphere. It's going to be going faster and faster and faster every second. In fact, it's going to be going about 15,000 miles per hour. So that's not really just cruising into the city like that scene has. I mean, just like a streak through the sky. It's going to be so fast. And these are the two problems I have. One, the thing doesn't have any communications on it. You can't just say abort, 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 and have a signal sent to it and it will abort. It's already done. Whatever it's going to do, it's going to do at that point. You can't stop it going where it's going to go. And two, even if you could stop it from creating a nuclear explosion, even if you can make the nuclear detonation part of that missile not happen, you're still going to destroy half that city, because it is a decent sized metal projectile coming in at the city at 15,000 miles per hour. It's not going to just splash into the water harmlessly. It's going to hit the ground or the water with such velocity that it's going to be similar to what a nuclear weapon would do anyway, a smaller one. It's just not going to have any radiation, but it's going to be very destructive. So that's the main two things. I couldn't believe I saw that. He's like, oh, abort. And then, oh, okay, just shut off the missile and it falls into the ocean. Everyone's safe, no problem. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. So anyway, good effort on the filmmakers, but it really is not too accurate. When I first saw it, I was like, when I first saw that the bad guy launched the missile, I was like, uh-oh, well, that's not good. They're screwed now. Once it fires, it's gone. But of course, that would not make for a very good movie. So what they did is they had Tom Cruise and his team able to save the day at the very last second by getting the relay station back up and running, sending the abort code through the relay station to the satellite, back down to the missile, and then the missile harmlessly falls into the water. I did like the movie, so I do recommend watching it. I'm actually a big fan of the Mission Impossible movies, so I do recommend watching it. But yeah, just not very accurate. All right, well, thanks for watching my video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it was entertaining and enjoyable, and have a good day.